Hello. So, if you're anything like me and you wanted to have a uh, hardware RAID with both SATA and NVMe RAID, and you're using the brand new, very recently released AM5 socket, it is a nightmare to get this installation to work. So, basically, what I'm doing is I'm doing a RAID 10 on my four 2 terabyte NVMe drives, and I'm doing a RAID 1 on my SATA drives. I have two of those, 14 terabytes. And it took me several days of struggling trying to get Windows to install because Windows would say, you can't put this on this kind of drive because it's not in the right format. I don't remember the exact numbers. It said something like GTX, GPX format, whatever it is. You can't put it on a formatted disk. And I went to the ASUS website, I got the drivers, and I opened them, and you browse. I downloaded them, and there are two options here. Now, according to all the documentation on ASUS's website, they say that you do it this way, according to the RAID guide for this board, which is the ROG STRIX X670 E-E gaming Wi-Fi. I had to check the board. Don't remember the name. And I'm using the Ryzen 9 7950X core. Very recently released technology, and I guess that's the disadvantage of using new stuff is there's not a lot of information out there. And for everyone else, when they did it, it just worked. But for me, it wasn't. Turns out, after contacting ASUS, that the problem. So if you're trying to do what I'm trying to do, and it says you can't put Windows on a formatted drive, here's basically the solution. All right. Although the documentation for the RAID guide says to put the RC bottom, then load up RC RAID, then go to this folder, RC bottom and RC RAID, don't do that. According to ASUS, I got an email back. This is only for SATA RAID. If you are only doing SATA RAID, this is what you want to use. The second so I would do this one, and then I would do this one, and it wouldn't work. You have to do these ones. Do the RC bottom, load up the driver, and then RC RAID, then load up the driver. And when you do that, finally, it'll refresh, and you can finally make your partition for your system, and then you can download Windows. So I have no idea why the ASUS official guide work says to do it that way. It's not the case. I don't understand why they say it to do it that way. It doesn't work. It will fail. So if you're having trouble like me downloading Windows on a RAID 10 hardware RAID, if you're doing software RAID, then none of this really applies. But if you're doing a hardware RAID, you have to do only the driver called NVMe underscore DID. If you do the SATA RAID as the guide says, it'll fail. I will put in the description a link to where you can download the driver so you can actually have this system. And so, wow, like a week later, I'm finally going to be able to boot up my system in hardware RAID. Anyways, that's about it. Good luck.